everyone, it's Courtney, one of the baristas at Vita Dolce in Southern Village. We've been trying to think of ways to interact with you guys since we can't see all of your beautiful faces every morning coming to get your cup of coffee. We are still doing curbside pickup and phone orders, but we were trying to think of more diverse ways to interact with you guys and hopefully give you something to do while we're all quarantined. So what we are going to do today is I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process of painting with coffee grounds. So obviously we go through a lot of coffee at this shop, both espresso and decaf coffee and just normal drip coffee. After you brew a pot of coffee, you have all these grounds left over, which most people just throw away. Hopefully you can compost them. But there's actually a ton of other things that you can do with them. And today we are going to be doing one of those things, which is painting. And literally all you need is some coffee grounds. If you don't have any at home, you can just come call the shop. We'll bring some out to you. We have plenty. So all you need is some coffee grounds, a little bit of water, and a paintbrush and paper. If you have cardstock works the best. But plain old printer paper will work if that's all you have. You just want to try to not put a ton of water on it at once because it is pretty absorbent. So cardstock is ideal. Watercolor paper is the best option if you happen to have that laying around. But if you don't, there's no need to go out to the store. You can just use your plain old printer paper, construction paper, whatever you have laying around. We have a couple different designs that I've come up with of differing levels. So we're going to go through those. The first one is just a very simple coffee cup, and it says Rise and Shine at the bottom. And this is just going to kind of help you get down the basic techniques of how to use the coffee grounds as paint. I'm going to be doing it step by step and showing you exactly how to kind of use the coffee. I'm not a professional artist, not by any means, so if I can do this, you definitely can. And I'm going to show you a step-by-step way to do it. And then hopefully we're going to do like a kind of series of these. We're also going to do a couple themed ones for Easter, one of which is super duper easy, super kid friendly. Literally just have to be able to do like a little fingerprint circle or paint a little circle, and then mom and dad can come in with the Sharpie, or an older sibling can come in and draw the face. Or if you're adventurous and you want to let your kid draw the face too, go for it. We also have a more advanced Easter bunny and some Easter eggs design that my dog knocked on the floor, so it's over there somewhere. But first and foremost, we're just going to do the coffee cup. Super simple design, super easy to work with. Just take the coffee grounds, put them on a paper plate or a glass plate, whatever you have. Get a little container for your water. That's what we're going to use to kind of clean off the brush in between, and then you just need a paintbrush. So I'm using a paintbrush that's just been laying around my house, and I'm finally going to make use of it. So let's get right into it. This is Padme. This is the culprit. She knocked over all of my paintings. But this is the other design that we will be doing for Easter theme. It's a little bit more advanced, obviously, than the circle with the face, but if you would like to do that, then stick around for the rest of the series. But today we are just going to do the coffee cup. Yeah, smells good, huh? Okay, so super easy. All you do is wet your brush. The coffee grounds that I'm using are still a little bit damp. I got them from the shop this morning, so they don't need a whole lot of water. You pretty much just want to get them hydrated, and you don't need to worry too much about the grounds getting on your paper. Once the painting dries, you can brush them off really easily. So don't worry too much if they stick to your brush and get all over the paper. You can just brush them off afterwards. But pretty much what you want to do, and it might be easier to just pour water over for this part, is just start to get a little bit of liquid coffee going. The fresher the grounds are, the quicker this will happen. The drier the grounds are, the more water you'll need to kind of get this basically brown, beautiful looking liquid started to go. And once you've got something that's a dark enough color that you think it'll show up, you can start painting. The thing with coffee painting too is that in order to get darker lines, you don't actually use more grounds, you just add more layers. So you're not going to get a super dark line on the first go through. That's totally fine. You can always go back over and repaint it as many times as you like to get a darker color, but it's going to be pretty light initially. That's totally normal. So the first thing we're going to start with is the cup. I usually do sort of like the lip of the cup. It's just a simple oval. As you can see, the coffee grounds are super duper light, so it might be a little bit hard to see. You definitely want to work in a well-lit area so that you're able to see the lines that you're making, because they are going to be very, very light at the beginning. You can always add more water to your grounds to kind of get a darker color. I kind of like to make almost like a well, like a hole in the middle of the grounds, and add a whole lot of water in there. And as the grounds kind of seep into the middle of the hole, the liquid will get darker. Get a little bit more color on there, maybe. Alright, and then if the grounds really annoy you, you can kind of just tap them off onto your plate. Super simple. As you can tell, I'm definitely not a professional, but if I can figure this out, then you guys definitely can, and hopefully it'll give you something to do if you're cooped up with your kids, or with your spouse, or your significant other, or your roommate, you know, whoever you are camped out with. If they're driving you crazy, or you guys are just both really bored, this is a great thing to do, and you don't need to go out to the store and get anything fancy to do it. You can just call the shop if you need coffee grounds. If you've got coffee grounds laying around, awesome. So now I'm just adding the bottom of the cup. It's probably almost even impossible to see on the screen because it is so light. The more water you add, again, the wetter your grounds get, the darker the color will be. So just keep adding water until you get a dark enough color. And as you can see, the grounds are kind of sticking to the paper, sticking to the paintbrush. That's totally fine. Like I said, once the paper is dry, or once the painting is dry, you can just brush them off. And that will be good as new. Just adding a little bit more water. So we've kind of got the cup going, and we'll go back and add a second layer to be the actual like coffee liquid on the inside. For now, we're just going to add the handle, which is just a semicircle, or almost a full circle, I guess. Just like that. Okay, so what I did, because the color was still a little bit too light in my opinion, I just went and poured like half of a tablespoon, maybe a tablespoon of water onto the grounds, and then you can definitely see that they look a lot darker. So hopefully that'll give us a little bit more color to work with, so you can hopefully see the coffee cup a little bit better. Looks a little darker. I think it'll work. Oh yeah, that's a little bit darker. Awesome. Okay, so going back in, going over the handle to make it a little bit darker. So we're just going to go back in and lightly go around the rim of the cup. Get a little bit of a more defined line. And also what I did on the first one that I did is I went back with just a Sharpie. You could also just use a fine point pen if you've got one of those laying around. And I just kind of did the outlines to make it a little bit more defined. You can just keep building up layers and layers of the coffee, but it will take a good amount of time. We're not necessarily short on time right now, so you know, if you want to go that traditional route and just keep building up layers, more power to you. I'm a little impatient, so I just use a Sharpie. But okay, so we've got a cup, very nice. And now we are going to kind of do the slosh As you can see, there's like a slosh of coffee with a heart coming out. You definitely don't have to do that if you want to just leave a coffee cup. If you want to be minimalist like that, no worries at all. This is completely up to your design preferences. If you just Google image search coffee paintings or painting with coffee, there are so many different designs that you can copy or use as inspiration and come up with your own designs. I felt like a coffee cup was pretty appropriate considering that we are a coffee shop, but if you wanted to, be adventurous, maybe paint a vacation scene of a place that you would love to go visit but obviously can't right now. Maybe you want to paint the toilet paper that you just can't find at the grocery store right now, or the exotic, delicious food from your favorite places that you can't go to. Any of those would be great options. I personally am a huge animal person, so when I was trying to figure out what I would be painting for this little series, I definitely painted a giraffe and an elephant. It is up to your imagination. And as the original lines that we started with start to dry, you can go back and add another layer of coffee, and that is going to make it a little bit darker, a little bit more defined. If you wait until it completely dries, it will obviously be ideal, but like I said, I'm not the most patient human being, so I am just going ahead and doing that now. But we are already well on our way, and that took less than 10 minutes, like 5 minutes maybe. So super quick activity. This is, I think, a simple enough design that even those of you out there who claim to have no artistic ability should be able to do this. And like I said, feel free to make it your own. I don't know if you can hear, but my dog is chasing her tail in the living room. She's also going a little bit stir crazy. And you can kind of add sort of like a shading, I guess. Padme, what are you doing? I don't know if you can see her. Come here. What are you doing? I have a very technical setup with my computer angled on top of a stack of bowls, so clearly a professional. But I hope this shows you that you don't have to be a professional to do coffee painting. It's super easy and anyone can do it. So we're just adding a little bit more shading. I'm going to go back over the heart and make it a little bit darker as well, and then we will add the words, and then we'll be done with this design. I will say probably the best part of using coffee grounds as paint is that they smell amazing, and definitely smell a lot better than paint. There are actually so many different things that you can do with coffee grounds. They're a great exfoliant, so you can make like a lip scrub, a face scrub, body scrub. You pretty much only need coffee grounds and some kind of carrier oil, olive oil, coconut oil, whatever you have. But you just combine the coffee grounds with oil and you mix it up into kind of like a paste, and then you sort of rub that all over your face or your lips. It's a great exfoliant. The caffeine is supposed to, not making any medical claims, but it's supposed to be good for anti-aging, that kind of thing. But it's also just a great way to recycle something that you would otherwise just throw away. If you've got house plants or plants in your backyard, you can just put the coffee grounds right on top of the plants every couple weeks, I've read. Once coffee is brewed, the acidity kind of goes down, so it's sort of pH neutral. It's a good fertilizer for your plants. I think it also repels certain bugs, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't want to be telling any lies about things, but I do know that coffee grounds have so many different things that you can do with them. So I'm going to rinse my brush off really quick. So we are going to start on the lettering. I don't have the greatest handwriting, so I tried to do almost cursive, I guess, just because I thought it would be a little bit fancier, a little bit better than my normal handwriting, which is not the most beautiful. The lettering is definitely one of the things that you will have to go over multiple times as it dries, just because you want to keep the lines pretty fine, and if you try to do too many layers while it's still wet, it will just end up spreading rather than retaining those sharp lines. So we got the rise, now we got and last but least, shine. And obviously, if you've got a wittier saying that you want to write on here, you know, don't talk to me until I've had my cup of coffee or anything like that. That is totally up to you. Just thought rise and shine was a little uplifting. A good reminder during these times when it can kind of feel surreal waking up in the morning. You don't really know what to do with your day, but you can just start your morning off right with a cup of coffee, either from Vita Dolce, or you can purchase our beans and brew it at home and kind of have the familiar taste of Vita Dolce, but without having to leave your house or put on real pants or real clothes, which is always nice. Can't forget to dot our I's. Alright, so I've been letting this dry for like maybe 5 minutes. You can see there's a lot of coffee grounds on it, but you can just dust those right off. Alright, so now we are just going to add one or two more layers to especially the lettering. As you can see, it's probably the lightest part of the painting so far. So we're going to go back in and add a couple more layers to that, and then we will be done, and she'll be ready to pop in a frame, hang on your wall, impress all your friends after quarantine when they come over. But let's add some more layers. And obviously I'm using a half piece of paper just because I already went through quite a lot of paper practicing, but you can make this design as big or as little as you want. Depending on how fine your brush is, it might be a little bit difficult to get really fine lines with the coffee, since you do have to keep adding liquid to get a darker pigment. So I wouldn't try to make a teeny tiny quarter-sized or penny-sized piece of art with this, but as small or as big as you want it to be. And like I said, we've got a couple different designs that I'm going to walk you through. Or of course, you know, if you don't want to listen to me walk through the whole thing, which I don't blame you for, you can just fast forward to the end of the video where I show you the finished product, and you can just copy that on your own if you don't want to listen to me ramble. But you know, with social distancing, it's nice to feel like someone's talking to you, even if I'm just actually talking to a screen. Alright, so we've just about got the amount of color that I think we can do before we're going to have to wait for it to dry again. You can pretty much keep building up pigmentation with different layers over and over again for as long as your patience will allow you to. It's just a matter of letting it dry in between each application of the coffee so that you can get a darker color. Right. So I think that is the finished product that we're gonna work with now. So as you can see, that took us maybe 15 minutes tops, which a lot of that was just me rambling. So you could definitely do this in 5 or 10 minutes if you sat down and really concentrated. Super easy. All you need is coffee grounds, water, paintbrush, and paper. This is cardstock, so you can see it does kind of start warping a little bit just from the liquid, but printer paper will work totally fine as well. And that's the finished product. If you want to go back in and add, some Sharpie or fine point pen definition just by going over some of the lines, totally cool as well. But that's our first in the series of coffee painting. And if you don't have coffee grounds at home, or if you just are looking for an excuse to get out of your house for a little while, you can definitely call the store. We can definitely provide you with coffee grounds from our daily brewing. You can also pick up a pint or half pint of gelato while you're over there. Just call the store and we'll bring it right out to your car. And in the meantime, I hope that all of you are staying safe, staying healthy, staying sane, even though we're all trapped inside, enjoying the beautiful new weather and all the flowers that are sprouting up around us. And yeah, I hope you all have a great day. Bye.